Hey YouTube, it's Magician34. I got a really neat deck to share with you here. It's a Flamvell Lightsworn deck, sort of. But what's cool about it is I literally built it in 20 minutes just before I went to go hang out with some friends of mine. This deck's going to change, of course, when Trishula's Triumph comes out and brings us the Neo Flamvells. But for now, this is what it is, and it actually works really well, and it's got some neat tricks, and I figured, what the heck, I'll share it with you. I got 3 copies of Flamvell Firedog, of course, pretty much the staple for Flamvells there. And if there is another card that's a staple, it's Flamvell Magician. Obviously, Firedog kills something, you get out the Magician, sink for 8. It also is really good with Rekindling. We're running 1 copy of Flamvell Archer, the 3-star tuner guy. That's pretty much the reason he makes it. 1 copy of Flamvell Baby. It's a 1-star tuner, and you can use it to pump your guys, but you really only need the 1. And we're running just 1 copy of Flamvell Pound. He's the guy who, when he dies in battle, he searches your deck for Flamvell. Or actually, he searches you for a 200 defense point guy and adds it to your hand. So actually, he doesn't just get Flamvells, he gets anything with 200 defense. Which is kind of neat, because he can search up this card, Lila Lightsworn Sorceress, because you notice she's got 200 defense. You probably can't see it there, but trust me, she has 200 defense. She mills cards, which is good for Flamvells, and she also destroys back rows, which is good for Flamvells. She can often force out a warning, because your opponent doesn't want to let you shoot their warning out from under them before you rekindle or something like that. So she's good at forcing back rows to go off. And I was also running 1 copy of Aaron Lightsworn Monk, because there are a lot of cards and decks that I like to hit with her, but realistically, after having played it, even though this card did alright for me, I think I would probably switch it for a 3rd copy of Lila, if I had it to do over again. I'm also running 2 copies of Card Trooper. They mill, and they draw you cards. Nothing to like about that. 1 copy of Summoner Monk, because he goes and gets Magician, of course, and he can also search for other things, like Lila, for instance. 1 copy of Sangan, because he recruits a lot of stuff out of the deck. 1 copy of Morphing Jar, he puts stuff in your grave and he draws you lots of cards. This deck benefits from both those things. It's a no-brainer. 1 copy of Glow Up Bulb, it's a good card to mill, good tuner. And here's one of the really awesome cards that I added in here just because I was building it on the spur of the moment, and if any deck can play this card, this deck can. Majestic Dragon. Because if you rekindle, this thing can easily make one of those majestic things, those majestic synchro monsters, and they're both absurdly powerful if you can actually get them out. So, yeah, it's a great way to surprise your friends. What can I say? Gorz, the Emissary of Darkness, is our last monster. It's easy to have no field with this deck, so it's a great way to take advantage of that. On our spells, obviously, the first thing we're running is 3 copies of Rekindling. It's like Return from the Different Dimension, only easy to pull off. 1 copy of Monster Reborn. 1 copy of Giant Trunade. Best removal we've got now, basically. 2 copies of Mystical Space Typhoon. 1 copy of Charge of the Light Brigade. Use it to search your Lila almost always, even first turn especially. If you go first turning out Lila to get your 3 cards mill, in addition to the 3 from this, if you search her, is great because if your opponent sets anything, obviously she shoots it. It's a great way to avoid things like Warning and Bottomless. 1 copy of Monster Reincarnation, because there are a number of things that we really want to retrieve, and discarding from our hand isn't really a bad thing necessarily. So it's a good addition. Foolish Burial, obvious enough. 1 copy of Book of Moon. Sad we can't run more right now, but that's the way it goes. Dark Hole. Mind Control. We have plenty of tuners in this deck. Lots of ways we can use this, and it's always nice to steal Ryko with that. In our traps, we're running 1 copy of Solemn Judgment. 1 copy of Call of the Haunted, because there's lots of stuff in our grave that we want to bring back. 1 copy of Torrential Tribute. 2 copies of Bottomless Trap Hole. More defensive traps. And last but not least, I've actually been theorizing playing this in main decks for a while now, and this is the first time I tried it. 2 copies of Chain Disappearance, main deck. Because in the end, you gotta realize that if you're siding this in for almost every matchup, it's silly not to just main deck the thing. And it can easily win you the first game in a lot of matchups. Even Samurais are quite scared of this card. It's a great way to catch people off guard. It's just a really solid card, and honestly, it's just as good as Bottomless Trap Hole in almost every matchup. So, onto the extra deck, which is really crazy. Like I say, I just threw this together, but we got 1 copy of Shooting Star Dragon. It's easy to make. 1 copy of Majestic Star Dragon. You should read this guy. If you don't know what he does, check him out on Yu-Gi-Oh! Wiki. Yeah, it's amazing how good those cards are. They're just really hard to summon is all. Red Nova Dragon. Those of you who may know me personally know I already have a soft spot in my heart for this crazy thing. Yes, it's difficult to summon, but you can rekindle straight into it. And this thing is, it's just, I mean, there's so much fun in summoning something that's so ridiculously huge. I mean, it's over 5,000 attack usually, so it's just fun, you know? Majestic Red Dragon. This thing can get even more ridiculously fat than Red Nova Dragon, which makes him fun. We're running 2 copies of Stardust Dragon, because you can easily summon more than one, and you like this thing for 8, so he's a good target. Helps you make your other stuff go off. 1 copy of Red Dragon Arcfiend. 1 copy of Mistworm, because you can also rekindle into that, obviously. Scrap Dragon, our other 8-star target. 1 copy of Black Rose Dragon. 1 copy of Arcanite Magician, because you actually have a lot of spellcasters, the Lilas especially. So this guy's easy to make, and he's good for cleaning stuff off. There's Bryanak, Dragon of the Ice Barrier, of course. Our other 6-star target, because you can actually sink for 6 pretty easily, is Gaia just good muscle. 1 copy of Ally of Justice Cataster, and then obviously 1 copy of Formula Synchron. And that's the extra deck, and that's the main deck. So until next time, rate, comment, subscribe, and enjoy. And if you haven't checked out my channel, but you like what you see here, check out my channel. Nearly 200 videos right now already up, and so feel free to look around and check it out. Thanks.